And that's right, everybody. Welcome back once again to another edition of the Best Seat in the House podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rob Kramer, joined by my co-host, the great Daniel Bobo Curlin. And Dan, how you doing today, buddy?
Well, it was a little bit of a sucky last couple of days for the Mets. Also, as you can see, yesterday I was at the Cyclones. The first round of their playoffs, they advanced to the championship series. That's beginning on Sunday for the South Atlantic League, and I'll be there Sunday afternoon for that also. And I'm wearing this hat that was given away at the game. But they're gonna be playing for the championship of the South Atlantic League on Sunday, the Cyclones, and I'll be there for game one's gonna be at home.
Wow, very nice. All right. So obviously, you were doing some traveling yesterday. Yeah, it's definitely been a bad week all around. I mean, obviously, we had the Mets just stinking it up, but uh, that's small potatoes when you consider what happened earlier this week in Utah. And I do want to express my condolences to Charlie Kirk's family and say rest in peace.
Yeah, exactly. And I gotta say one important thing: it is not okay to attack somebody because you don't agree with their beliefs. All right, I. I just really feel like what the heck is going on? We need to be in a world where people can have just an honest discussion and be able to be okay with it. If they don't agree with you, you don't need to you don't need to harm anybody that's not doesn't agree with you on certain issues like that. It's just unsettling seeing that happening when I heard the news that happened. 'Cause I saw it on my news alerts on one of my news Twitter feeds, and I was like, "What the heck is wrong with society that stooped to that level?"
Yeah, well said. Well said, Dan. I mean, it was definitely a sad day for the United States of America and discourse in this country as well. But I just, we don't want to spend too long on that. We're not a political show, but definitely want to give our condolences at the top. But getting into our normal stuff, Dan, yeah, it has been a real crappy, and I guess we could say week, but even more honestly, this has been something that has been going on. The date that we keep circling is June 13th, because if you look at what the Mets have done since June 13th, if there are any small kids away, shield their eyes, because the Mets have been about as bad as you can possibly be. The third worst record in baseball. It's literally the complete opposite of last year. What happened with this team? How badly they started and how strong they finished. It's the complete 180 this season, where they started off so great. They were 45-21 on June 13th, which is why it's their high watermark for the season. That's why we keep pointing back to that date. And since then, the Mets are 31-47, the third worst record in baseball. And if you take it back even further than that, to the beginning of May, the Mets are actually 49-56. So we're talking about well over 100 games of this team being a less than 500, mediocre at best team. And that's unacceptable. They were talking to David Stearns in the midst of this nonsense earlier this week. And, he specifically said and gave his vote of confidence to Carlos Mendoza. Now, we know that David Stearns isn't going anywhere. I've said this time and time again that he's the president of baseball operations. He's not the GM. That's a big, big difference. And Steve Cohen basically tied the Mets franchise to David Stearns for at least a 5-year run, whether we like it or not. And it's probably going to be even longer than that. But, everything kind of worked out last year. The Mets caught lightning in a bottle, and, everything worked out up until Game 6 of the NLCS. But it has not gone well since then. We had the great moment this offseason with the Mets signing Juan Soto. Soto's had an up and down year, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But, I mean, Dan, what are your thoughts? Like, what's your feeling for this Mets team? When I read that whole thing down about how bad they've been since June, and even a month earlier than that, what's your feelings about this Mets team?
Uh, I just feel like it's just whenever the Mets go on these bad stretches, I feel like sometimes the offense is doing well. I feel like there are some areas, really more than others, that David Stearns really left us out in the open. One,
What,
I feel like maybe the starting pitching, maybe a couple of things in the bullpen, and I feel
yeah,
like this move, Helsley, a major factor. I feel like the late innings, the bullpen has not been able to hold the leads in the late innings,
you're right.
and I just feel like it's wearing down on our offense when the pitching's not holding up on our end, and I feel like it's affecting our offense in a way because it's like it's digging us into deeper holes, and you can only get away with that so much being dug into a deep hole like that, and expect us offense to have to get out of the deep hole every fucking game.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
true.
just feel like it complements. I feel like a good pitching that can keep the team in the game can complement the rest of the team. It's just the foundation of the whole thing, and it's showing, and it's wearing down. And the
Yeah,
more you keep doing that, it's just going to affect the team. And they gotta find a way to right the ship. And I just really hope that maybe this continues. These young pitching we've just called up maybe gives this team a jolt and a jolt that we need.
well,
And it
these young pitchers have already tried to give us the jolt, Dan. They gave the Mets the jolt over the weekend where they each threw 6 innings. You know, remember we went that stretch from June till about August where the Mets didn't have anybody not named David Peterson complete 6 innings of work, and they actually had 3 days in a row. Brandon Sprout, Jonah Tong, and Nolan McLean all go 6 innings. So it's just, and they lost all 3 of those games. So it is true though that these guys have given the Mets a burst of energy when they've needed it. But man, I just really can't believe um, what the hell is going on with this team. Okay, now let's get back on track. Let's talk about this Phillies series right now with the disgrace that was, as we just see first pitch has been thrown at Citi Field. Jonah Tong against deGrom. We'll get into more of that in a little bit, but at in Philly, it was a disaster this week. The Mets got swept in a 4-game series, completely negating the 3-game sweep they had at Citi Field a week or two ago. And now, with their 6 straight losses and their 4-game sweep at the hands of the Phillies, they have now dropped to 11 games back in the NL East, where we were talking about potentially being 3 games out a week ago. It's now an 8-game swing to being 11 out. That's how bad this Mets team has gone. They went from being tied with the San Diego Padres just a couple of days ago to now they're 4 games behind the San Diego Padres for the second wild card spot and only a game and a half up on the Cincinnati Reds and the San Francisco Giants for that final wild card spot, Dan. The Mets right now just seem to be dying a slow death, and it is extremely painful to watch.
yeah, it is, and something I swear something needs to happen. And I just hope that the Mets, they for one thing, they could start by snapping this losing streak as soon as possible. And if they got to snap this tonight
Yeah, and it's not up
because
to
I
a
feel
good
like
start as Johnny. Yeah, what are you gonna say?
yeah, there's already a runner on base, unfortunately, but
Yeah, Jonah Tong
it
walked the leadoff batter.
yeah. And if they go too long, if they go through too many of these losing streaks, it's gonna cost us. They got to avoid getting these losing streaks. They got to find a way to win every series,
Yep.
and more importantly, the pitching needs to do their part.
Yeah, and this has just been everything for a bad team that you can see. They've had 6 and 7 game winning streaks, multiple. They've had multiple 6 and 7 game losing streaks. They've had opportunities where they were in first place and then they blew those opportunities. And Dan, the offense, it seems when the offense is pitching, when the offense is hitting, the pitching isn't doing their job. When the pitching is doing their job, the offense isn't hitting. So it's just everything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's been a Murphy's Law type season, and it really is sickening me and somebody has to be held accountable for what this happens. If this Mets team misses the playoffs, I want to see somebody be fired, and I don't know who it is, because especially after this is exactly what we've seen from the Mets all year long. They got 4 runs in the first inning off of the starter yesterday for the Phillies in the first inning. They looked like they were world beaters. They looked like they were going to avoid the sweep and get back on track a little bit. 4 runs on 5 hits in the first inning yesterday, and they didn't have a base runner for the rest of the game. So as much as I want to give the offense credit because they're still, doing well for the most part, and as much as I want to rip the pitching for blowing that 4-0 lead, it's the first time, you see that note down at the bottom? First time in Major League history, a team scored 4 runs in the first inning and then didn't have a base runner for the rest of the game and lost. First time ever, only the 2025 Mets.
Oh, my God. What is with the Mets? They just when you thought they've made us upset in every way possible, they find another way. Oh.
Yeah.
Please don't do this to me the rest of the way. Oh my God, I cannot play. I cannot calm down the rest the rest of the season. I'm just gonna be on edge the rest of the season, and I am gonna be so nervous if it comes down to that last week of the season. You have no idea what I'm gonna sound like if it comes down to that last weekend of the season. I am gonna be like, there's going to be a whirlwind of emotions that last weekend. It's a little warning right here.
And Dan, we know, we're Met fans. We know what's coming. Look, maybe they'll surprise us, make the playoffs, but we know it's going to come down to those final couple of games, like you said. And Dan, I want to ask you a question right now, because this is something me and you have talked about in the past at times, 2007, 2008, or 2025. What's worse, in your opinion? I still probably have to say 2007 and 2008, just because the fact that it was the end of Shea Stadium, and obviously in 2007 it was for the division. 2008 they did blow a division, but it was even before the last game of the year, and they blew a playoff spot to the Brewers on the last game of the season in 08. But I mean, 2025 was supposed to be different. 2025 was supposed to be the year where the Mets took the division. It was supposed to be like a year where you don't have to sweat it. And they've come out and have completely bottomed out. So because a lot of people are calling this a collapse, I don't necessarily think it's a collapse because of how prolonged it's been. But what do you think, Dan? Let's say if the Mets miss the playoffs this year, what will you find more painful, those 2 years or 2025?
I feel like maybe this one could be painful. Might be a tie. And all I know is it'll just upset me because this one might be the worst because of the fact I've had to go through this 3 times. And I hope that doesn't happen. Because I've gone through this enough, and it would just be the worst to be in a situation where it would be the worst be in a situation 3 times where where I saw that happen at a time and I had already locked up the playoff ticket.
Yeah, and the Mets might not even give us the opportunity to do that this year. Well, I guess people have bought it already, but it's not looking too good. People are going to be able to use them, and Mets are letting this lead slip through their fingers, and it's not fun to watch. However, tonight we'll be getting a little bit of a reprise from all this. We'll have some good feelings at least, depending on what the outcome is. As Jacob deGrom does return to the mound tonight at Citi Field with the Texas Rangers for the first time since 2022. I have a lot of mixed feelings on deGrom. I'll always respect him and I'll always love him for what he did here, and even more so than the Cy Youngs. Jacob deGrom's Game 5 of the 2015 NLDS against the Dodgers will always live in infamy in my mind. I guess not in infamy, in glory in my mind. But I don't know, Dan. I have a lot of mixed feelings about deGrom. How do you feel about seeing Jacob deGrom take the hill at Citi Field tonight for the first time in 3 years?
It is the worst feeling. I feel like this is my 1977.
Yeah.
This is my generation's 1977.
The Tom
Something
Seaver
we should have
return.
not had to have seen. We should have not been having to see. Just like the previous generation, how uncomfortable was seeing Seaver in another uniform. It's like this for us, this generation. Like our greatest pitcher. Like, I feel like, for one thing, he can do whatever he can do in Texas. His legacy will be here with us, as far as I see it.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
And there is just nothing like that that's really endeared to deGrom like this fan base was during that time. He was on. Yeah. He was with us, and I look back at his time with the Mets, and I feel like eventually there will be a Mets Hall of Fame plaque with his likeness on it. Eventually,
I agree. What do you think about a number retirement?
I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I could maybe I would be okay with it. I'm not really sure that's one that the Mets should really do.
Yeah, as the Mets go down 1-0, Jonah Tong allows base hit to right field, put him down 1-0. But he's fighting right now. He doesn't have his best stuff, as you could tell. And this is a good Texas Rangers lineup.
Yeah, I feel maybe if deGrom stayed with the Mets his entire career, maybe they would have.
Like David Wright.
Yeah, if the Mets would have retired his career, probably stuck around to win a World Series, he probably would have had his number would retired. But I feel like he's pretty much cemented his legacy and what will be the final legacy, the final honor, accolades.
As the Mets go down 2-0 now here on this Friday night, Jonah Tong not off to a great start. And but I have to say I agree with you. I wouldn't retire deGrom's number unless he stayed at the Mets for his full career. Then I definitely would. But because he left, I agree with you. I wouldn't retire his number. So deGrom right now against Jonah Tong tonight has been staked to a 2-0 lead. 2 outs in the first, runners on first and second. We'll see if Tong can get out of this without any more damage. But right now, I don't know. My hopes for this Mets team. This feels like 2007. This does. Like every single time you turn around, if you have a lead, it evaporates in 2 seconds. If you don't have a lead and the game starts, you're immediately down fighting from the back. So I have no faith in this Mets team. So I hope they prove me wrong, but I don't think they're making the playoffs. I think this team is shot. I think Carlos Mendoza should be fired, and I think that David Stern should be threatened into having the greatest offseason in the history of Major League Baseball. Because I'm telling you right now, Dan, there better be major changes on this team next year. If they don't make the playoffs, I want to see a lot of new faces because I'm gonna be. I want them to bring back Pete Alonso, and I want you to figure some fucking shit out because this is absolutely disgusting.
Exactly. And also, I have to say, like 2007 and 2008, I practically did not watch the playoffs those 2 years because of how annoying it was that we were so close. I could not bear the sight of seeing us not in the playoffs after we were that close. So it was hard. It was the toughest thing to even take a glimpse at the playoffs. I may have followed some news stories and stuff, but it was a tough stomach to thing to stomach. 2008 was even more of a tough one to stomach, being the fact that we had the Phillies number in '08 and they fucking won. Ugh, that one just stung big time. Seeing the Phillies win the World Series in '08.
Yeah, it definitely did. No doubt about it. And all right, so on to some better things as we get to the end with the Mets here, because I can't even muster like I have any good feelings towards this dog shit team right now. As Jonah Tong, just about 30 pitches into the first inning, now as the bases loaded with 2 outs, so this is going to be a fun game. Now we got tomorrow the Shea Stadium versus Citi Field Alumni Classic game. And I got to say, I feel bad for these guys coming in tomorrow. Because could you imagine if the Mets lose tonight to Jacob deGrom, which is the biggest kick in the balls since the Jets losing to Aaron Rodgers on Sunday, and we'll get to that in a little bit. The Mets losing to deGrom tonight. I mean, who the fuck is going to give a shit about this Shea Stadium Citi Field game tomorrow? And it's such a shame because if the Mets were doing good, and they had gone through a tough week or whatever, but they were still locked into a playoff spot, God forbid I say, leading the division, then people wouldn't really care. Everybody be having a great time watching this. Or on the flip side, if they were just having a dog shit season and they were 15 games out of it right now, then, hey, people will get behind the Shea Stadium versus Citi Field thing right now just for an excuse to be excited for a day. That's not so much the case right now. I don't really feel like celebrating the Mets alumni right now. It's going to be cool to see them tomorrow. But the way that the current team is performing right now, I don't really care. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, it just feels like a weird, bad vibe to do this late in the season with the way the current team is. Even though I'm a little bit stoked to see this, I'm going to be there tomorrow. But I just wish it was under better circumstances. And I gotta tell you, I feel like right now, I gotta perform an exorcism on the Mets.
Do it. Let's go.
The power of Grimace compels you. Let me rub the belly of the Grimace. The power of the Grimace compels you. The power of Grimace compels you.
There we go. Get those demons out, everybody. Let's hope that we're getting the bad juju away from the Mets right now, and we'll be able to tell real quick because the 2-2 pitch is coming from Jonah Tong. So let's see if the Grimace can help him get out of this bases loaded jam right now. And no, we didn't. Base hit to right field, right in front of Juan Soto. 1 run scores, 2 runs score, 4-0. Texas Rangers in the first inning.
Now the best thing we can hope is just make the deGrom throw a lot of pitches.
Oh, they're not coming back now. This game's over before the Mets have even batted. I'm telling you this right now. The Mets will not win this game tonight. So they're going to be going into the Alumni Classic tomorrow on a 7-game losing streak. Thanks, David Stearns. Thank you, Steve Cohen. I really appreciate the absolute dog shit team you've assembled this year. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude our coverage of the New York Mets today, because if we keep talking about them, I'm going to vomit on my computer. So let me just sum it up by saying, fuck you, Mets. Let's talk about a real team, the New York Yankees, who had the President of the United States in attendance last night, and they won 9-3 as he was in, and the Yankees avoided the sweep. They had a rough week against the Tigers, but they're still 16 games over 500, so the Yankees don't have anything to worry about, as they're 81-65 coming into today. The Yankees avoided the sweep with a big 9-3 win last night. And I want to give a lot of credit to their kid starter, Cam Schlittler, however you say his last name, Schlittler. Another great game from him. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. He's 3-3 with a 3.05 ERA to start his major league career. He's made 11 major league starts for the Yankees right now. And, this kid's off to a great start. You got to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, I gotta give a lot of credit to him for getting off to that start. I mean, you Yankee fans might might have lucked out there with this one, but it's going to be only time will tell about if this one's going to be a one that has lives up to it or can continue off of that. But it's it's going to be a matter of over the course of time. And the
Yeah,
Yankees are pretty much they got to continue to not to doing what they're doing the rest of the way because they're going to be they're going to be facing tough competition. They still got three more games against the Tigers upcoming up, and the Tigers are no easy opponent. It's gonna be a matter of getting those key scoreless innings. Are going to be
The Yankees just played the Tigers, so they lost 2 out of 3 to them. The Yankees won here on in the finale yesterday, as Jonah Tong walks another batter right now, so real fun. Oh no, it's 3-2. But the Yankees, they had a rough first 2 games there, Dan. I mean, we could talk about as bad as the Mets have been, and the Mets have been bad, no doubt about it. But the Yankees bullpen, boy, in this 3-game series against the Detroit Tigers, the Yankees bullpen through 9 innings allowed 21 hits, 21 runs, 20 of them being earned, and 4 home runs. Holy cow. I mean, the Mets bullpen has been crap for a while now, but those are some crazy numbers from the Yankees bullpen over the course of that 3-game set.
yeah. This bullpen's got to right the ship quickly, otherwise it's going to be disaster. It's going to be other disaster for the Yankees. I cannot the words cannot describe how bad other disaster for the Yankees, and they cannot their bullpen cannot do this down the stretch.
Yeah.
It's gonna put the Yankees in a bad situation, probably a bad matchup in the wild card round because it's maybe link, but it is far from over. And of course, speaking of worst things, Jonah Tong looks like he's had his worst start of his big league career right now.
That's right. Jonah Tong being taken out in the first inning, down 6-0. So great start for the Mets. Really got to love the Mets, but the Mets came home. And the Mets were just celebrating having 3 million people in the stadium this year. I'll tell you this, Steve Cohen, you ain't getting that next year. Not the way this dog shit season's ending.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
let's not
yeah,
talk about that garbage team from Queens. Fuck them. Let's talk about a real team. Like I said, the Yankees. The first time in Yankees history, though, as I'm trying to give the Yankees credit too, the next stat that I have is that the first 2 games this Detroit series, Dan, the Yankees, it was the first time in Yankee history they lost back-to-back home games by 10 plus runs.
yeah. That is just shocking. Like that's how you know that things are bad. If you've seen that the Yankees are reaching low, they're reaching lows. Maybe not in the big way as we are, but they are.
Yeah, the Yankees.
That is not good. That is
Yeah,
not good right there. And they got to right the ship, and they got to be ready because they're about to face a tough opponent. They're facing the Red Sox, and it's gonna be nail biters on both sides. It's gonna be a highly contested series, probably gonna be low scoring.
well,
And
that's right. And we'll really look into that series in a second, Dan. But before we did get into that, I did want to just cover a couple of little things real quick. Is that Aaron Judge actually hit a couple of home runs the other night? He actually passed Yogi Berra and has now tied Joe DiMaggio at 361 home runs for the 4th most home runs in Yankee history. And once he passes DiMaggio, he will be the most prolific right-handed home run hitter in the history of the New York Yankees. That's pretty crazy.
yeah, that he is reaching big. I mean, Aaron Judge is reaching big major territory. He is gonna. I mean, Judge is gonna without a doubt go down as one of the greats. I mean, he's on a pace for like Hall of Fame, all the accolades, the Hall of Fame, number retirement, the Monument Park monument. He's
Yeah,
he's cementing a legacy that this, I guess, this generation of Yankee fans, there's a generation of Yankee fans that don't know anything like the Yankee dynasty or anything. So this is this is going to be Aaron Judge is probably one of the biggest things about this generation of Yankee fans that they're gonna have, that they're gonna be able to look back at and be able to talk about when they talk about the players and moments that they remember growing up. This is what they're gonna be talking. This is what they're gonna mention is Aaron Judge. One of the things they're gonna mention is Aaron Judge.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, think about this, Dan. How crazy is this thought? Just to even sit here and think about this as, people who have loved baseball and know these names. The only after Judge, well, actually, now that he's even tied him, the only players in the history of the New York Yankees that have more home runs career than Aaron Judge are Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Mickey Mantle. That's it. Isn't that a pretty crazy stat when you think about it?
Yeah, that is just a crazy stat, and he's reaching some pretty big territory there with
Yeah.
without a doubt, some major territory, and that is just in that says a lot there about Judge. What we're seeing here with Judge, and there is just some there. I mean, Yankee fans, you definitely had something special for the beginning, and you're I mean this, you're seeing it. You're seeing probably one of the greats in your team's history, and probably one of the players that's going to be mentioned in this era of professional baseball. I feel like Judge has to be part of that story of this era of professional baseball, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, he's the best player of this era. For me, it was going to be Mike Trout, but Judge is definitely there. I also want to bring this up, where Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run the other day, his 20th of the year. So now 7 different New York Yankees have hit 20 plus home runs this year as they continue to kill the ball. That ties them with the 2009 and 2019 Yankees for the most in franchise history. So if one more of those Yankee players can get up to 20, they'll break the record, and as crazy as it is. But yeah, Dan, like you said, too, the Yankees now are getting a big matchup with the Red Sox. Luis Gill or Heel, however you say his name, going for Boston, going for the Yankees tonight. 3-1, 3.31 ERA going against Boston. Lucas Giolito, who's 10-3 with a 3.38 ERA. And it's funny too. We had talked about Boston when the Mets played them earlier this year. Boston was having a down year. Boston's 15 games over 500. Boston is blowing the Mets out of the water right now. So it is crazy how these teams that at the trade deadline all didn't think they had a chance. Now, no problem. No problem, as deGrom has now retired the first 2 batters on 5 pitches after the Mets went down 6-0 in the top. So this is going to be a long night. Or hopefully deGrom just throws a complete game shutout on like 50 pitches, and we don't have to watch it for that long. But yeah, Dan, so big weekend matchup now for the Yankees against the Red Sox. And, this pitching matchup is a big deal for them tonight.
Yeah, it is. It's a big deal for them, and it's gonna. I feel like this game, it's gonna be low scoring. Probably gonna come down to 1 or 2 runs.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So that's gonna wrap our baseball talk. Let's finish out the show now, Dan, with some football, as we had the opening week in the NFL last week. The Jets and the Steelers, the Giants and the Commanders. And let's kick things off with your Giants, Dan, as the Giants ended up losing to the Commanders 21-6. They dropped to 0-1. Commanders up to 1-0. The Giants defense, I feel like, played pretty well for most of the game. And honestly, we're not going to go too deep into this because we already did our post-game shows on our Patreon. So if you do want to hear more of our thoughts and more in-depth analysis, you can check that out, patreon.com/Best Seat in the House podcast. It's only $5 a month. We appreciate all the subscribers already. But yeah, Dan, tough loss for the Giants in week 1 there.
Yeah, that was a tough loss. Once again, we have no offensive line. It's just this offensive line is not giving the quarterback a chance to make the passing plays, and there was just no run game, and it's just you can only do so much, and it just caused the defense to crack. After they kept them in the game so much, the offense wasn't doing their part, and it showed right there. The more they struggled, this is bound to happen, and it's what happened. And once again, I'm scratching my head about the offensive line again.
Yeah, the Giants only ran the ball 10 times with Tracy, their primary back, in week 1 for 24 yards. So wasn't really getting too much traction, but you figure you got to keep trying to pound it. Didn't work. Giants could not run the ball against the Commanders at all. Russell Wilson moved it a little bit on the ground, but still not that great. And, speaking of Russell Wilson now, Dan, too, after that not good opening for him, everything really kind of shifted in Giants land, where a lot of Giants fans are saying, hey, we've got 2 other quarterbacks on the roster. We've got Jameis Winston. We've got Jackson Dart. And I got to say, too, I got to give both these guys credit. I was looking at an interview with them where they were both talking about, their prospects for playing this year. And Jameis Winston was total team guy, was supporting the 2 other quarterbacks that he's behind. And Jameis Winston was saying that even though he still believes that there aren't 32 other guys here, that he's in the league, that basically meaning that he should be one of the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Dan, don't worry about it. There's nothing to look at the TV screen unless you want to be sad. So let's just finish this thing out here.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't really looking at the screen, but
yeah, no, I know. I'm just joking around. But
yeah, no.
The Mets just they killed me tonight. They killed me.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah, I feel like they need to do something. They, without a doubt, the offensive line needs to do something, because I feel like you could slot in Dart, but at the same time, what do you expect from this offensive line? Is they're gonna do the same shit with the Dart with the Russell Wilson?
That's a great point.
You're only so good as good as the offensive line.
That's actually a great point, Dan, too, because I hear a lot of Giants fans saying they want Dart in there, but to your point, with the Giants' offensive line being as bad as they were in week 1, do you really want to put Dart in this early and watch him get beat up for most of the year? I mean, maybe you let these 2 veterans kind of figure it out before you throw Dart in later in the season,
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you need to wait a little bit for Dart. Wait to figure out, see if this offensive line can handle that. See how this offensive line progresses before you bring in Dart, because last thing you want to do is to have a quarterback injured because an offensive line that failed to protect the quarterback.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that happens too many times. When you not only do you give a quarterback no little room, you potentially injure a quarterback if your offensive line fails on them.
Yeah. And head coach Brian Daboll has come out and said that he wants that Russell Wilson is going to continue to be the starting quarterback. He's not considering making a change yet. But Jameis Winston hanging around there, if Russell Wilson continues to not play well, they'll at least give him a look and see what he's got. I mean, Jameis Winston's a little bit younger, a little bit more athletic than Russell Wilson at this point. He is a little bit more prone to the turnover, so we'll see how that goes. But we'll see if the Giants do give him a look at any point. But yeah, Jackson Dart is probably a little bit more down the depth chart at this point. looking at the Giants, some injuries and stuff they're dealing with in practice. Andrew Thomas was expected to practice today and tomorrow, but he was only doing it in limited availability. So right now, it looks like Andrew Thomas is going to be out for this game for a second straight week, which is another big hit to that Giants offensive line. They need him in there to kind of help stabilize things. He's their best offensive line player, no doubt about it. And then wide receiver Darius Slayton, who was banged up and wasn't practicing much this week, the Giants have said he will be in and active on Sunday. So, a little bit of good news and a little bit of bad news for the Giants on the injury front right now.
Yeah, we got a little good in a receiver core, but at the same time, we're kind of left in a hole there with our offensive line once again. So I'm just getting nervous in the game, and the Giants really can't go 2-0 because it's only going to get tougher from here. And plus that, I just badly want to see the Cowboys get their ass kicked because I can't stand them.
That's right, and
I can't stand them. These Cowboy fans are annoying. They're the NFL equivalent of Yankee fans and their idiot egos.
Yeah, well, except the Yankees have the championships to back it up. I mean, they haven't won one in a while, but they still at least have it. They got 27 to back it up. The Cowboys do have a few themselves, but the Cowboys haven't even been to an NFC championship game in 30 years. So it's been a long time for the Dallas Cowboys, and the Giants will be in Dallas on Sunday to play them. They are 4.5-point underdogs. We'll do our picks at the end of the show. We're going to pick the Jets, the Giants, and the Vikings. So we'll be doing that in a couple of minutes when we wrap up. But Dan, so yeah, big game, Giants and Cowboys this Sunday in the 1 p.m. window. And with that too, let's talk a little Jets before we give our picks out here, Dan, where the New York Jets lose to the Steelers in week 1. So both New York teams kick off the season 0-1. However, the Jets did it in a little bit more excruciating factor. The Giants never really got too much traction in their game, and the Commanders are a really good team, to be fair. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, with their new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who, as we all know, if you're a fan of this show, how I was not thrilled with the way the Jets parted ways with Rodgers. But I can't complain. One of my biggest fears was that the offense was going to shit out, and I don't know how it's going to look for the rest of the season. I still don't have the highest of hopes, but I did really like what I saw in week 1 from the Jets offense, at least. They got some good calls from their new offensive coordinator and Tanner Eggstrand, and they put up 32 points. The thing that kills me though is that they blew a 26-17 lead going into the fourth quarter. They blew a what was it? So they were up 26-37. They were up 32-21. So I mean, they blew multiple leads in this game, and just losing this game in the way they did is just infuriating and typical Jets. I was telling everyone that I feared losing on the game-winning field goal to Aaron Rodgers. It's exactly how they lost, on a 60-yard field goal with 1 minute left in regulation. And Aaron Rodgers comes back and gets the win. He throws 4 touchdowns, and he looks like Superman. And this is exactly what I feared. So, Dan, what are your thoughts on the Jets' opening week loss to Rodgers and the Steelers?
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. The defense, I think what I'm seeing with you guys is that the defense fell apart in some key spots, and they need to probably shore up the defense the rest of the way. Is what it looks like in week 2. They need to shore up the defense, and so far the offense looks good, but the defense is gonna be a key thing the week during week 2, and gonna be saying that's gonna be looked at the rest of the way.
Yeah, and Justin Fields had a great debut. One of the things that I've constantly said is that I've never seen the Jets make a quarterback look better than where they were prior to becoming a Jet, except for Vinny Testaverde. But I will give the Jets absolute credit. They did make Justin Fields look like a pretty serviceable quarterback. He was looking at times like Lamar Jackson last week, and I don't say that lightly. I don't want to heap that much praise on the Jets when they don't deserve it, which is why you can tell I believe they deserve that kind of praise. Tanner Eckstrand called a great game. Justin Fields ran a great game. Breece Hall, the running back, had a great game as well, going over 100 yards. Garrett Wilson had 95 yards and a touchdown, including a big 33-yard touchdown catch that was really beautiful. And Fields, too, had 3 total touchdowns in this game, 2 rushing and a passing one to Garrett Wilson, like I said. So got to give a lot of credit to there. But in typical shitty team fashion, as we were saying earlier with the Mets, Dan, where when the hitting's good, the pitching isn't. When the pitching's good, the hitting isn't. It's the same thing with the Jets. That's why it didn't surprise me they lost this game, because as much as it impressed me with how the offense did, it disgusted me with how this defense did. Aaron Glenn's supposed to be a defensive coordinator. And I don't hear all the people, too. And look, I was one of them, so that's why I want to be consistent. Robert Saleh, when the Jets defense played good, got all the credit in the world, as he should have. When the Jets defense played bad, he got wrecked like he should have. Aaron Glenn is getting 0 criticism for the Jets defense being bad. Aaron Glenn's a defensive guy. He was a defensive coordinator for the Lions last year. He was a first-round draft pick cornerback for the Jets back in the 90s and the early 2000s. So this is a guy that knows defense, and I want to see the defense perform better than they did, allowing 34 points, to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Jets really need to get better results from their D.
Yeah, exactly. The Jets need to improve. They need to improve. They have to improve. I feel like for this season to be even anything to be respectable, the Jets need to at least get maybe sneak in the playoffs, or at least get close to that. They need to make a step forward to for this progress to really mean anything, to have something they can build on into next year.
I'm with you, Dan. No doubt about it. So the Jets definitely have to get that together, and tough way to start the season, though, 0-1 for the Jets. I did got to say, the one thing I want to give a lot of credit to for Aaron Glenn is I've ripped the Jets the past few years for there being 0 accountability. Guys making big plays. Guys not making big plays and continuing to be run out there. Guys committing major game-changing penalties and not suffering any consequences from them. Major turnovers and still being run out there. The Jets, basically the thing that turned the game around completely last week was Xavier Gibson, the kick returner, fumbling a kickoff return, and on the next play, Rodgers and the Steelers would punch a touchdown in to turn the game around. Xavier Gibson has been cut by the Jets. It's a long fall for a guy who had that, just 2 years ago, the night Rodgers got hurt at MetLife, September 11th, 2023. Xavier Gibson had that golden moment against the Bills in overtime when he returned the kickoff and gave the Jets the opening night win. Apparently that was his only great night, though, as he has been cut by the New York Jets there. What do you think about that, Dan? Does that kind of show that, Aaron Glenn's trying to make a point here and people will be held accountable?
Yeah, I think that's showing the point, and Aaron Glenn, it's a thing that Aaron Glenn needed to do, to hold the people accountable, and it was the right move.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think, look, I hold no ill will towards Xavier Gibson. He's a kid with some promise, but he hasn't lived up to the hype. And unfortunately, that he probably shouldn't have even been on this roster in the first place, to be honest, coming out of training camp. But on top of that, with compounding that with the unforgivable turnover there, makes a lot of sense why they got rid of him. Jets, on the other hand, now playing the Bills on Sunday, 6.5-point underdogs in that game. Bills are the heavy favorite in that one, just about a touchdown at MetLife. But the Jets got good news too, as Sauce Gardner, who didn't really practice much this week, is going to be in. But the bad news is that their wide receiver, their depth guy, Josh Reynolds, the veteran, is going to be out. The former LA Ram is dealing with an injury to a lower body injury, so he's going to be out. So same thing with the Jets and Giants. Some good news on the injuries, some bad news on the injuries.
Yeah, exactly. Some good news, some bad news. It's gonna be a tough one for the Jets, and I feel like the Jets need to, if not win the game, put up a good fight against Buffalo, and I feel like that could say a lot for the team's progress. Is how well they fare. That they can't give Buffalo an easy win. At
I'm with
least
you.
they got to do that.
Yeah, this can't be a blowout, and the offense can't go back to looking like the Adam Gase Jets. You know what I mean? The offense can't go back, or even the Robert Saleh Jets. The offense cannot go back to those days. I still want to see good stuff from these guys, and hopefully Tanner Ekstrand can get something there. But yeah, man, I mean, I did want to also give a shout out to a couple of people in our chat who are hanging out right now. We got our buddy Mud Sharks. Yeah, shout out to the Zumach Army right there. Mud Sharks Unite. And also our old friend Alvalanker hanging out. And boy, he is 100% right about the disaster going on with the New York Mets since the All-Star break. So sorry you've got to suffer through it too, buddy. I mean,
I know we're all suffering. I might have to offer Jabu double rum. See if that works. And I think the Grimace is commanding me to get a shake, and he's telling me after this game the shake machine is gonna work. He guarantees it's gonna work. Get a shake after the game. After the show.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy.
And the Grimace usually it's good things for the Mets if the shake machine works. If I go to that McDonald's Massive and get a shake, it's usually good momentum to the Mets if the shake machine works when I order it.
True. And our buddy Al Blanker comes back, and I don't necessarily disagree with him on this. Not the offense, not the defense. They have all been excellent. It's the pitchers who have failed us, and the manager is not the problem either. I hope they don't fire him. He did nothing wrong. Now, I see what you're saying. I don't necessarily 100% agree with it. But, it's – I don't know. It's I do have to also say, too, I'm very, very emotional when it comes to the Mets. I try to remove my emotions from it, and I try to think more with the reason. But sometimes I just come out and I'm firing. And, I do like Carlos Mendoza. I don't want to sit here and say, like, I don't like Carlos Mendoza. And I respect what he did last year, too, which is as much as I am down on him at times, and his constant use of Ryan Helsley is one of the things that bothers me. His insistence on playing Cedric Mullins pissed me off, even when the guy's 0 for 25 and he stinks. He keeps trying to put in Gregory Soto in situations against left-handers where Gregory Soto can't get anybody out. But you know what, though? Al Blanker is right in a certain sense, because this is all Carlos Mendoza has to turn to. Who else is he going to put in these situations except for the guys that his GM provided for him? My question to you, to our buddy Alvalanker, who also says that his biggest worry is that Cohen will try to trade Pete for some pitching, which would really suck because we love Pete. Well, Pete's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, so they wouldn't be able to trade him. But I know what you mean, because this could be like one of those desperate times call for desperate measures situations, and I agree. I hope Cohen doesn't push the panic button. Dan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't push the panic button. But I do hope that Cohen finds that if there's pitching in the available in the offseason, he needs to take advantage of that. He needs to make that move. David Stearns, they need to sign elite pitching for one. For once, the Mets need to sign elite pitching. And they're lucky that they've gotten maybe McLean's shown up great so far, and Sprout. Still, the question mark is about Jonah Tong. where I feel like his Tong's next start is going to be a big thing that's going to determine his progress. Where if he's going to be what we expect, that's going to be another factor. Another big factor is how well is Singa gonna turn out turn out well, and has finally somehow gotten over the hump with that injury, because there's questions if he rushed back from that injuries may have caused a lot to try to get back to that injury. You've seen players mess it up when they've come back from the injury. So question
Yeah.
that. And the other big question is, was signing Sean Manaea worth it? That's going to be another thing, but I feel like he needs to. That's going to be the key. The key thing is the it's going to be the pitching, and maybe get another bat in the outfield during the off season. I feel like.
Yeah, especially center field, they're going to have to address, which me and you were calling for them to, um, bring back Harrison Bader, and as he's killed the Mets with the Phillies, that's the guy that I wanted. Cedric Mullins was a nice little fallback plan that, I even said when they traded for him, I still would have rather Harrison Bader, but I said, okay, I like it. At least they did something, because I didn't think they were even going to add an outfielder. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's been pain for the Mets, as Joe Beningo would say. Oh, the pain, because that's all the
Yep,
Mets have been doing lately.
yep. And another thing I feel like needs to be done potentially is maybe have they? I wonder if they've been giving Jet Williams some reps in the outfield. That could be a valuable asset in the pipeline for the Mets sometime next year. I feel like.
I'm with you. I'm with you. No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. Also, want to give another shout out to somebody hanging out in the chat. Caroline, thanks for hanging out with us. She says, I agree Mendoza plays some bad players, but he can only play the players that they give him. And she's 100% right. I mean, that's what I was just saying, too, after I got past my emotional tirade. She's 100% right. I mean, when you really think about it, we can have our criticisms of Carlos Mendoza all we want. And also, shout out to our boy Alva for sending you here. But, when you think about it, Dan, the blame really has to be pointed at, once again, as Joe Beningo would say, the boy wonder, David Stearns. He's the one that constructed this roster. He's the one that brought all these guys in. He made all the decisions. And, even though guys like me and you wanted Sean Manaea back, and we wanted them to bring in a guys like Helsley. We wanted them to make a lot of these moves, but we're not the GM. This guy's supposed to be the Wunderkind that gets this Mets team back into contention on a yearly basis, and right now it's kind of going up in flames. But let's hope that they're still in the lead. And yes, Dan, I still got the game on. As angry as I've been at the Mets, they're currently down 6-1. As Francisco Alvarez hit an opposite field home run, and actually Cedric Mullins, who I was just ripping, got a base hit. So let's hope. Maybe the Mets are going to stage some kind of crazy comeback tonight and make me eat my words. I'll tell you this, Mets. Nobody wants to be more wrong than me. Prove me wrong, just like you did last year. I talked more shit about the 2024 Mets at the beginning of the year than probably anybody on the internet, Dan. You saw me. That's about as mad as I've ever been at the Mets coming into that year, and especially with the way it started. But you know what? You proved me wrong, and I loved every second of being wrong in the second half last year. So we've got, 17, 18 games left, if that. Prove me wrong, Mets. I want to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be wrong. And I got to say, remember I was joking around the crazy stuff if the Mets make the playoffs, all the stuff I would do based on what my sister suggested? We might have to end up having to do what my sister suggested us to do if the Mets make the playoffs. Subject ourselves. We would be like Mystery Science Theater test subjects rifting a movie that my sister's freaking nuts about, that I've been subject to having hear the film soundtrack in the car, by the way.
And which film was that for our audience that isn't aware?
I've mentioned that my sister lately loves that movie Wicked and subjected me to beg me to watch it with her. at that time I wanted to watch the Rangers game. I was watching this, and in my head, I'm rifting the movie in my head. To me, it was like it was Mystery Science Theater. Only I was wearing a jumpsuit, and I'm imagining Tom Servo and Crow sitting next to me as I'm watching the movie. We might have to rift part 1 and torture ourselves seeing part 2 the same day my sister goes.
That's true. Well, let me ask you a question. Did we agree for only if they made the playoffs? That seems like a low bar. I thought it was if they won the World Series, or at least got there.
Yeah, at least got to the World Series. But if they get to the World Series, but if they somehow it just turns a 180 on what we're seeing right here and how we're feeling now.
Yeah.
We get to the World Series. At least get to it. We're gonna have to go torture ourselves with that movie.
All right, we will lock that. We will lock that in right now. If the Mets get to the World Series, we will do that. If they get there, even if they don't win, as long as they get there, we will do that. No doubt about it. That's locked in right now.
Yep, exactly. And I'm going to have to use the honor system, but I'm going to have to rely. Someone else in your house is going to have to verify that you were watching, that you tortured yourself with part 1 at the same day I watched it. Someone's going to have to verify that you in fact watched it. This way we can This way we can confirm we watched it because obviously because that one's on Amazon and trying to work out the logistics of us being in the same place. It'll be easier to do the logistics for part 2 because you would just have to meet up with me and Shannon at the movie theater that Shannon's going to go to for part 2, and subject ourselves to that movie and in our own heads, literally, or rifting that movie.
Exactly. Now, last question on this one, Dan. So, does that make am I Crow and you and you're Tom Servo, or am I Servo and you're Crow?
I don't know. I feel like I'm Servo because one of our fans is a Misty loves Servo, so I have to say that for the sake of it, I'm telling her, I'm the win, baby. Nobody gets me. I'm the win, baby.
All right. So yeah, I'm with you on that though. And hey, if you're Servo, I'll be Crow. I like it. I like it a lot. And all right, Dan. Last thing before we get out of here now, let's do our picks for for week 2 now in the NFL. We did our week 1 picks, and it didn't go too well for the BSIT boys as we went a combined 1-5. Bobo took an 0 for 3, and I went 1-2. We're going against the spread, so it's not just straight up wins and losses. So we're doing with the points. So let's start off, Dan, with your Giants. Giants are in Dallas against the Cowboys, -4.5. They're 4.5 point underdogs in this game. Dan, what's your feeling? The Giants going to cover?
I feel like they're going to win this 23-10.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you have the Giants winning by 13 points over them, so you definitely have them covering then, right?
Yeah, I just have a feeling it's due for it. I just have a feeling just because I feel it's overdue for the Giants to beat the Cowboys after having not beat them for a while. I think it's overdue. And plus, it'd be nice to do that because I got a relative in North Texas who goes every time the Giants are in town. He makes sure to go there. He's a fellow Giants fan, so I got to make sure he got to make sure that Curlin in North Texas got to make sure he gets to see a Giants win, and maybe he's going to be FaceTiming me during that, maybe a couple times during a Giants win. So definitely got to say that. Hopefully that happens.
Yeah. I wish I had the Jaws theme on here right now because 6-2, it's actually 6-3 now. Like Avalanche put it up there after the sacrifice fly, so it is 6-3. I still honestly have zero hope. I'm not, I can see them still not even getting a hit for the rest of the game. But prove me wrong, Mets. Let's go. Prove me wrong. They are chipping away. No doubt about it. But so you're taking the Giants there. Let's get back on track there. We keep getting distracted by the Mets. As So you're taking the Giants though. So we'll be going head to head on this one. I'm going to take the Cowboys in Dallas. I do think that the level of competition is much closer than it's been the last couple of years for the Giants and the Cowboys. But I'm going to pick the Cowboys to cover on this one in Dallas. I think this is a Cowboys team that's extremely motivated after they traded Micah Parsons, and how a lot of people have given up on them. I feel like these guys have kind of banded together, which is why I picked them last week to cover against the Eagles, and that was my only win of the weekend. I went 1-2, and the Cowboys covering were the only thing that got me a win. So I'm going to stick with the Cowboys on that one right there. And let's our buddy Alvinker added this on that. The Giants got rid of Barkley and Daniel Jones, who both didn't do well because they had no offensive line. Now both Daniel Jones and Barkley are on teams with good O-lines, and they're doing great. And he's 100% right. Me and you on our Patreon show this past week talked about, Daniel Jones' great week and a 33-8 win that the Colts had. And he's got Quentin Nelson and that whole thing behind a really good offensive line for them. And then obviously, too, the beasts in the offensive line they have for the Philadelphia Eagles, where Saquon now plays. So no doubt about it. They hit the nail on the head. Can't argue with that. So, but the Giants continue to roll along, and Dan has taken the Giants to cover, and I will take the Cowboys to cover for that. So let's go to now the Jet game, Dan, as it's the Bills and the Jets. Bills are 6.5-point favorites in this one, coming into MetLife. The Bills have been susceptible at MetLife, the last couple of years. The Jets do get them and pick them off every once in a while. Josh Allen in the past has had some of his worst games against this Jets defense. But, as we could see, this might not be that same level of Jets defense. Let's see what happens. But I don't know, Dan. What are your thoughts on this game? Who are you picking?
I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news here with you on this one, but I have a feeling it's going to be Bills 27-20.
27-20. Okay, so you have the Bills barely covering in that one as a touchdown. They're just under a touchdown favorite. You have them covering by winning by a touchdown, 27-20. I'm with you on that, actually. I don't know if the Jets are even going to put up. I have it even being lower than that. I think the Jets, I could see them losing like 27-13, and where all the good press last week was how great the Jets offense did, and I could see them losing like that by 2 touchdowns almost, and not have a very good offensive day. So I'm with you. I'm taking the Bills on that one too, minus 6.5. And just like I'm saying with the Mets, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Jets. I want to be wrong. Nobody wants to be more wrong than me. So please prove me wrong. But they didn't last week. They except for the cover, actually. The Jets did screw me last week on the cover, but they still lost.
But yeah, and I got to say, for both our teams, I guess we could say yelling at the TV, there's no off season with yelling at the TV.
That's right. That's definitely right about that.
And during the winter, it gets multiple yellings at the off season, multiple things that make us make a lot of noise in front of the TV, whether it's yelling or just celebrating, because you got football going on, you got hockey, you're going to have basketball soon, and you're going to have hockey. So it's going to be a lot for the TV to survive. That's
true. Things are really going to start heating up in about a month now when hockey and basketball really kick into gear.
Yeah, and I hope it's in a situation where I have so many of my favorite teams going on at the same time, where you got the Mets, you got the Rangers, the Giants, and the Knicks all going on at the same time. I hope we get to a point where that happens. Where I'm going to have to make good year. Yeah, that's always good. I hope I get to make good use of my DVR on that.
Yeah, if the Mets are still playing by the time the Rangers are playing and the Knicks are playing, then it's a good season. All right, so we got the so you're taking the Giants, I'm taking the Cowboys. We're both taking the Bills against the Jets. And finally, Dan, I figured since the way we're going to be doing it is we usually do the Thursday night game because we record the show on Thursday. Since we're doing it on Friday, let's just do the Sunday night game instead. So the Sunday night game is the Falcons at the Vikings. Dan, Vikings are 3.5-point favorites. The Vikings had that crazy game and that crazy comeback where at halftime everybody wanted to cut J.J. McCarthy, and after the game people wanted to put him in the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of things going on there. Vikings, Falcons. Dan, who do you like in this one?
I feel like the Vikings are going to just win this in a blowout. That might win it like 32-10 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you either. I'm kind of with you. I could see the Vikings winning big. I don't really like the Falcons. I think the Falcons are probably a little bit better than people give them credit for because they've been down the last couple of years. They've been accumulating a lot of young talent with these high draft picks. So I think that the Falcons do have something there. But I think the Vikings are just a really good football team. So I'm definitely with you on that. I'm taking the Vikings minus 3.5. So our picks are in the books. Dan's got the Giants, the Bills, and the Vikings. And I've got the Cowboys, the Bills, and the Vikings. So one way or another, there will be someone in first place at the end. Right now, these are the standings for our picks. But other than that, Dan, that's going to do it for us on this edition of Best Seat in the House podcast. Before we get out of here, anything you'd like to plug for yourself?
Sure, my Twitter, Bobo103NYC, Instagram, Bobo718DK. Don't forget, subscribe to our Patreon. We'll be on the lookout for Trackside Minute. I'll catch you up with the last three races that happened in the NASCAR Cup Series, talking about that Trackside Minute. Also, don't forget, whenever I post stuff on my YouTube, you get 1 week early access to that. And if you see me at the Met game tomorrow, say hi. If you see me at the Cyclones game Sunday afternoon, say hi. It's the same thing. Say hi. And definitely say hi. Talk to me. Let me know you appreciate the show. We always appreciate when people show their appreciation for our show. Definitely,
Absolutely.
And thank you for support, and hope all you guys have a fun weekend, and hope your teams go well, and hopefully your TV survives.
That's a good point. Let's hope it survives past tonight, as the Mets now trail 6-3 in the fourth inning. We're on second for the Texas Rangers right now against Brazoban. So we'll keep our eye on that. But want to thank everybody for hanging out with us on this Friday night, the special Friday Night Lights edition of Best Seat in the House with myself and the great Daniel Bobo Curlin. This is the Best Seat in the House podcast, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll be with you back on Sunday on our Patreon show. But other than that, we'll see you back in our regular time slot on Thursday next week on this YouTube channel. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you next week. And even though I said I hate them, let's go.